What's going on YouTube? Ronin Frog 87 here, guys. And I know I'm a little late on this, but I just wanted to talk about the new mechanics that are coming here to Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, the whole link summoning and pendulums getting nerfed. I know I'm late to the party, and YouTubers have already talked about this ad nauseum, so I'm not gonna go super in depth as to what the new changes are, because other YouTubers have already explained it, and they'll probably explain it way better than I ever could. So I just wanted to talk about whether this is going to be a good thing or a bad thing for Yu-Gi-Oh! And at first, probably, and let's just, first and foremost, guys, let's just get this out of the way. We all know the reason why Konami is doing this, and it's a smart business decision. And that's because they're doing this because this essentially guarantees that if you want to continue with this game that we call Yu-Gi-Oh!, that you're forced to buy the new product. That since this fundamentally and drastically changes the game so much down to its core level, gonna be forced to buy the new product. So, bravo Konami, you diabolical bastards. Well, anyways, let's just talk about some of the negative aspects about this first. And one of the negative aspects about this is that this might serve as a barrier to entry to this game. And what I mean by that is, you know, maybe people have downloaded who've never played Yu-Gi-Oh before but have been interested. Maybe they've seen the anime but not necessarily played the game. Maybe, you know, they're like, okay, I want to try this game out, but then they see, you know, link summoning, and they see how the board is all set up, and they see the pendulum zones being occupied in the spell and trap zones, and they're like maybe overwhelmed by this. And when a lot of people are overwhelmed initially, they give up. Not everybody does, but a lot of people do. So those are a lot of missed out potential customers to this game that Konami is going to miss out on. So, and another negative aspect about this is that this is irritating and annoying and just downright pissing off a lot of people. Everyone from like newer Yu-Gi-Oh players to like old grizzled Yu-Gi-Oh veterans like me. And it was upsetting a lot of people, and even more so than when synchros are first introduced. Do you remember that, guys? For those of you who do not know, when synchros are first introduced into the game of Yu-Gi-Oh!, the only extra deck monsters we had were fusion monsters. Heck, back then, the extra deck wasn't called that. It was called the fusion deck because all we had were fusion monsters. And it was unlimited. It wasn't 15 cards. It was unlimited. You could have like a whole, literally a stack this big of fusion monsters, and it would be tournament legal. That wasn't very productive or very... It wasn't very ergonomical or economic to have that size of or productive or practical to have that big of a fusion deck. But some people, to just troll around, did it. And so basically, when synchros got introduced, e-heroes got the shaft because they required a big extra deck or big fusion deck. A lot of people were mad. A lot of people also thought that synchros were gonna flop, and that pissed off a lot of people. And then you had XC's monsters, and that didn't really piss off that many people to the extent of synchro summoning, but you still had your detractors. And then you had your pendulum mechanic, and that really annoyed and irritated and upset and bothered and just angered a lot of people. And I'm one of them, because I actually, you know, took 10 months off of this game because of that damn mechanic. But you know, Pendulum Summoning was the last straw for a lot of people, but luckily I'm back, and luckily with this new rule changes, they got nerfed. So what I'm saying, in short, what I'm saying is you're going to anger a lot of people who just might quit. However, I think people in the short term will quit, but eventually they'll come around and they'll come back. And so now let's talk about the good aspects about this, and if you guys are wondering what side of the fence I stood on this one, I think it's good. At first, initially, I thought this was like dumb, or kind of like, what the heck are you doing, Konami? Like, Konami, every time a new anime is released, Konami, you don't have to like introduce a whole new game mechanic, especially when that really fundamentally changes the game down to its core mechanics, like this link summoning thing. But initially, as I saw more videos on this, more YouTubers explaining it, I'm like, you know what? I can get on board with this. In fact, I'm actually glad for these new rule changes and this whole link summoning thing, because it really, really slows down the game. Now, eventually, Konami, I'm pretty sure, is going to release a bunch of cards that are going to make link summoning broken. It's going to happen, you know. It happened with Synchro Monsters. It happened with Xyz Monsters. It most certainly happened with Pendulum Monsters, where they released cards that made those mechanics broken. And I'm pretty sure link summoning is going to be the same. But for the most part, as of right now, it really slows the game down. It makes special summoning from the extra deck, you have to earn it a lot more. Because right now, look at Zodiacs. You can just spam out everything. Look at. Remember when Synchros came out with Teledad and Plant Synchro and Windups, and excuse me, that's Windups were XC's era. You know how we could just spam out Synchro monsters, and then in the XC's era with Windups and all these other decks that I'm forgetting. Anyways, and then with Pendulum monsters, how you could just spam them out. You know, this new rule, these new rule changes actually, you know, make you earn that. You know, I'm pretty sure eventually down the line, like I've said, it's gonna be pretty easy just link summoning and then just, you know, spamming out more extra deck monsters. But for the time being, this looks like a really good mechanic. And now deck we're gonna and hopefully we see a lot more variety of decks other than just, you know, Synchro.deck or Xyz.deck or Pendulum.deck, something that just does more than spam out extra deck monsters. Maybe the game could be slowed down that allow rogue players like me a fighting chance in the meta. So overall, I think this is a really good thing because not only does it slow down, you know, special summoning and stuff like that, but or excuse me, you know, from the extra deck to say the least, because I'm pretty sure decks that can spam out monsters from the hand and deck are going to be a-okay. But not only does it like slow down like, you know, extra deck monster summoning, but it like breathes new life into the game. It's like new blood, you know what I mean? Because as you guys know or should know, stagnation is death. Every time like a company or a game or whatever it may be, stagnates, it gets boring. When it stops evolving, when it stops changing, when there's no more revolutions in that game, it stagnates, it gets boring, and just, you know, it dies. And who knows? Maybe I may end up eating my words. Maybe this turns out to be the death of Yugioh. Who knows? I really much doubt that, but you know, stranger things have happened. Well, alright, guys, those are my thoughts on these new mechanics. Oh yeah, I'm just glad that Pendulum Summoning got nerfed. You know, we have now that instead of having their own scales, instead of having their own slots, you have to use up your spell and trap zones. So I think that should have been from the get go. I think that should have been implemented from the get go. But since Konami wanted to sell pendulums, they couldn't do it that way. But better late than never, right? Okay, guys, so those are my thoughts on this whole thing, just in case you were wondering. Some negative aspects, but overall, I think this is good for the game, and I'm excited for it. Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys believe about these things. Really interested to see what you guys think. Hope you guys did enjoy this video, this little discussion I had here. And if you did, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm really grateful when you guys do that kind of stuff. And as always, I'm Ronin Frog 87. I bid you farewell, and I hope to see you guys on the next video.